Hello everyone, welcome back. Oh, my arm just disappeared into the sunlight. It's a beautiful sunny day and I actually wanted to film this video. I keep seeing it in my subscription box and seeing other YouTubers do it, and it is probably something I'm gonna regret doing later. But hopefully not. Hopefully I won't regret it. It is answering your assumptions about me, and I was also kind of curious to see people's assumptions about me. So I put it on my Instagram stories, which is where I normally post like Q&As and things like that, and loads of people replied. So thank you if you did send in an assumption. I wasn't like offended. Loads of people said like no offense and all this kind of stuff. I really wasn't offended. I was asking for it, and quite a few of the same things came up, so I'm going to answer them as best I can now, and hopefully that will give you a better idea into getting to know me as well. The first assumption I'm going to answer is that I'm also going to keep everyone's usernames anonymous, by the way, because a few people said that. You didn't like being single. This was something I actually wanted to talk about because I felt like I had in my single days like so many ups and downs of like loving being single and then totally hating being single. I feel like the most recent time I was single, I didn't really date that much. I went on like a couple dates, whereas in the previous time I was single, in my previous relationship, when I was single that time, I literally went out with like anyone. Everyone was setting me up. Like I was going out all the time and going on dates with like sounds really weird to be like just anyone, but I was just going on like loads of dates, really enjoying myself. Whereas this time I felt like I'd kind of done that. I'd done the whole like going out, dating everyone, dating multiple people, not like multiple people, but going on loads of different dates. I kind of felt like I'd done that, and I had a more like clear idea, I guess, of what I wanted to date, rather than before I was just kind of like, you'll do. Sounds kind of like weird, but I just thought I have no expectations. I have no like list of what I want. I will date a guy if I'm attracted to him. That's literally, that was it. That time I really had good fun with that. I felt like I learned a lot about me and what I like in a partner and what I don't like in a partner. That was actually really good, and that is something I try and apply to like loads of different things in life. Like have no expectation, like leave expectation at the door. I feel like I'm gonna do that weirdly when it comes to wedding dress shopping. Just like not have any expectation of what I want or pre-built ideas or anything, and just start from scratch. So that is actually something I would really recommend to anyone single, because starting from scratch is just such a good outlook to have on something, and that period really helped me build a better idea of what I was looking for in someone I wanted to date. So to answer your question, that was a bit of a long answer. To answer your question, at parts I really didn't enjoy being single. I felt like I went on so many dates with toads, as my grandma would say. Toads. I guess didn't turn into princes. It's such a like grandma thing to say when you're going out with someone that is not a good guy. Anyway, yeah, I had a lot of bad dating experiences, and that did kind of put me off being single, I guess. And it wasn't being single, it was more the dating part of being single that just kind of put me off. And also I'm like quite a straightforward person, and I really got to the point where like I couldn't be bothered to play games anymore. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes the games thing when we were like 18, 19, 20, like that was fun when it was like new, but the novelty of that wore off really quickly, and I just got bored of the games thing, and I really valued someone just being upfront with me. And I felt like in dating there was a lot of not upfront times, and that was the part of dating and being single that really bothered me. I love being upfront with people. I love honesty. The thing I loved the most about being single was having so much more time. I just remember my single days. First of all, I would eat total crap and just have pasta day, night and day again, and I love being at home. I love being by myself. I love recharge time, and I had so much of that. I was a new person. I had a lot of assumptions about me being a very positive person, and I always seemed to find the silver lining to any cloud. Loads of comments like that. I actually wouldn't describe myself as a positive person. I would say it more takes me a while to get to a positive place. Let's say something happens that is unexpected or can be perceived as negative. Let's say I start off here and I will see where I want to be, which is here, the nice positive place, and it will take me a while to get up to that positive place, but I more often than not start in the negative place. That was the answer to that question. Wait, hold on, no, it wasn't the full answer. But I always want to get to that positive place. I always want to make it easier for myself, basically. I feel like when you do have a positive mind frame, everything is easier, everything runs smoother, so I always want to get to that place. I think also it takes a lot of reprogramming, let's say, of someone's brain to instantly come out with that positive silver lining reaction when something happens. And that's actually something my mum does really well. You'll tell her anything negative and her immediate response is at least. She'll be like, at least blah blah blah, at least this. Like, she'll find that silver lining, and that's like her instant gut reaction that I guess she's just trained herself to do, is at least. So I think that's like a really good starting point, is when something negative happens or something bad happens, just start with your at least. Like, I don't know, you failed a test in school, at least you tried your hardest, at least you did really well on that one part of the test or something. Someone said you never eat fast food, and there was a lot of questions actually about weight. Someone else said you never struggled with your weight, which is, first I'll answer the fast food bit. I used to eat loads of fast food, particularly McDonald's. That was my favorite. But since I had SIBO and IBS, I haven't had fast food at all. I still have French fries. Is that fast food? I guess so. French fries, because they're fried. But no, I don't, because if I went there, that would be it. Like, I'd have to go there every week. I feel like it's so much better for me to go cold turkey than not at all. McDonald's used to be like my just favorite thing to eat, and it was just better just cutting them out of my life and never looking back, because otherwise I feel like if I have a tiny bit, then I'll probably want it all the time. Then that would just be really bad for my symptoms. To answer the struggled with weight thing, I've literally always been the same size pretty much since I hit puberty, aka got boobs. My body hasn't really changed. Same with my sister, same with most of my dad's side of the family, really. That's just the kind of gene pool, which is great because I can put on a dress I wore when I was 14 or 15 and it still fits, and it's amazing. I love it. It's very, very efficient for clothes. Someone said that you're an overthinker. I am a major overthinker. I'm not even gonna pretend I'm not, because I am. I overthink I would say 95% of stuff. I'm a quick overthinker though, I would say. Majority of the time I do think fast, but I do have a good analyzing system, I would say, in my brain, where I can think of all the possible scenarios, think of the risks, analyze everything together like a little computer, and come out with my decision. That you and Rob had a very fast relationship and got engaged not long after you started dating. This came up quite a bit, this kind of theme, and it's true. I don't know what else to tell you except it's true. We've known each other for just over a year now, and we got engaged in December. It's now February, so you can do the calendar maths if you want to. When I hear the time in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a short amount of time, but honestly doesn't feel like that at all. And in the spirit of honesty, I always used to, I guess the correct word would be judge people that got engaged or got married like so quickly, and I'd be like, how do they really know each other? Careful what you judge, because it could end up being you, I guess. I never thought I would be this person or like in this scenario, but when it happens, I don't know what to tell you, except when you want to marry someone, you want to marry them. Like, that's all I can tell you. When you don't have any doubts that you want to be with that person every day, then I guess that's it. You appear to be very outgoing, but you're actually more introverted. And then she said, love you. So love you too, even though I'm gonna hide your username. That is true, actually. I am, I guess, an introvert. I recharge by myself at home. If I don't have an at-home day, this actually happened recently, I really freak out. It's not a good thing for anyone. I need to be at home for an evening by myself. I don't even know, painting my nails, doing something maintenance-y, tidying, just something with my hands at home by myself. That is how I recharge. If I don't have that, I actually go insane. Someone said you aren't very religious, which is actually very true. I guess I don't really talk about religion on my channel. I'm not religious. I do believe in God, but I'm not really sure what else it looks like apart from that. And that's something I'm figuring out, that I don't feel like I'm in a position to educate people on religion or to share anything about religion, because I'm still figuring out what that looks like for myself. I think this is something that's going to come to light around the wedding, because oh, that looks a bit ugly there, doesn't it? Hold on, that's really gonna bother me. Do you guys remember the days of like setting up for YouTube when we'd have candles and flowers and everything, and now I'm like, let me just leave my heater there. What was I saying? Oh yeah, this is gonna come to light at the wedding, I think, because a lot of people in my family have a lot of opinions. My aunt actually pulled me aside the other day and told me her opinions on how she thought I should get married in terms of the religious aspect of getting married. To me, getting married is the actual marriage part, is the civil ceremony, like the legally binding marriage. I guess that's what you call it. I don't really know much about like the legal part of it, but from what I've been to with my friends, where it's like you actually go to the registry place and you sign the paper and stuff, to me that's getting married. Whereas, for example, for my aunt, when she was telling me her thoughts about how she thought I should get married, that involves a lot of things that I don't really understand, and something that I need to look into before then. And I'm not so opinionated on the subject, but a lot of people around me are. So I feel like if I'm not opinionated and they are, then, and it means more to them than it does to me, then anyway, we'll have to see. I need to actually look into that at some point, as well as actually plan a wedding. Someone said you don't want kids because you never talk about it. It's funny what you guys pick up on, like it's so interesting. This was something that actually came up a lot, and I guess because I don't know, I guess I just never post about kids. I don't know. I don't know how you guys got that. It's just so funny. Honestly, having kids scares me so much. I'm not a particularly maternal person. I'm not one of those girls that like sees a baby and is like, please can I hold your baby? Like some of my friends will see a baby on the road and like run to the baby. I run to the dog. See a dog on the road and I run to the dog and I tell him I love him, and the owner thinks I'm totally insane. Actually recently my friend Dijon has the most gorgeous baby you've ever seen. I mean, he's gorgeous. And she went to the bathroom and she left me with Atlas, and I honestly was freaking out. I was literally just like holding him, staring at him, waiting for her to come back, counting the seconds, because I'm not maternal. I don't know what to do with babies at all. I guess a lot of people who haven't been mothers think like that. My sister and I are only 2 years apart, so I know loads of my friends who are like 6, 7, 8 years apart from their siblings are much better, are much more used to being around babies, but I literally have no idea what to do. So it does kind of scare me. I don't like the unknown or unknown things, but I'm sure if the time were to come, I would take it as a nice challenge. And get my shiz together, read books. I don't know, what do people do? I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Someone actually said that you will have a destination wedding, which is true, I think. We haven't planned that much, but I think it will probably be abroad. There is a place in Europe where my family and Rob's family both have a lot of ties and roots and memories, and that would be our ideal place, location wise. Not like a particular venue or anything, but a location in Europe. And that would basically be our dream wedding location. But I think the one thing I've learned about weddings, honestly, is that the only thing that really matters is the bride and the groom's energy. I've been to so many different weddings with like some like so fancy like bands and performances and things, and then some like really simple singing, dancing, eating, and honestly the only thing that anyone's there or that anyone notices, or particularly me, I can't really speak for everyone, but is the bride and the groom's energy. That's it for me. I mean, I went to a wedding this summer with Rob and I'd never met the bride or the groom before. I was literally a +1 of his friend's sister, and I was literally their +1, and I had the best time ever, because her energy and his energy together, you felt how in love they were, you felt how much they wanted this and they wanted to be there. And Rob actually took the most hilarious pictures of me dancing with the bride. Like, he was just laughing because he was like, it's like she's your best friend and you're a bridesmaid. I just felt, even without knowing the couple at all, I felt their love. That is going to a wedding, is just feeling the couple's love and feeling their energy. The plan is to not get too carried away wedding planning and just think about how no matter where we are or what we're doing, it will be amazing because we're getting married. And just think about that couple that I didn't know, and I had the best time at their wedding because I was celebrating them, even though I didn't know them, but I felt like so thrilled for them. The weirdest thing. It really was. It was the strangest experience celebrating a couple I'd never met before. I'm also not that person that's had their like wedding planned out since they were 5. Like, I really have no idea where to begin. I hadn't really thought about it that much, and I haven't thought about it really at all, and I don't think Rob has either. The only thing we really have talked about is how we would like it to be intimate, which is probably going to be our biggest challenge because our family, as I've mentioned before, just our immediate family is 100 people, so that already is borderline not so intimate. I think also the idea of someone opening up an invite and their first reaction to that invitation is, I cannot wait to see them get married. That is the feeling. I know that I've opened up so many of my friends' wedding invitations. It's like, oh my god, I'm so excited. I don't want to send out any invitations to anyone that wouldn't feel that way or that doesn't really know us or anything like that. One of my friends actually had a rule that unless they'd been to dinner one-on-one with the couple, or like been at a dinner with them, with the people they were inviting, then they weren't invited. Which I don't think is actually very realistic for us because we both have a lot of cousins that neither of us have met yet. I think he's met all my cousins, but I haven't met all of his cousins, and so that's probably a bit unrealistic for us, but something along those lines would be great, but who knows. Someone said that you're tall. Everyone thinks I'm tall. Everyone thinks I'm tall. I don't know where I give off these tall vibes, guys. Like, someone please explain to me how I give off tall vibes. I don't know. I think because my legs are like disproportionately long compared to the rest of my body, so maybe people think I'm tall in pictures, but I actually have like a really short upper body. I'm actually 5'1", which is not tall at all. But whenever I meet people or whenever viewers come say hi or anything, people always say, oh my gosh, you're much shorter than I thought you were. Every single time someone says that, every time. Okay, there was one question that I would say was 80% of the assumption questions, and that was about my family background and upbringing. First of all, I want to say I appreciate that I asked for people to send in their assumptions, but also I would ask you to appreciate that this is a particularly awkward question to answer appropriately. To answer the question in a yes or no term, the simple answer is yes, I did grow up privileged. I would also say that the biggest privilege that I could have, or that I could ever have, was my family, and my family being so close. There's this general feeling that I rarely see in other friends or anyone's families of togetherness, and it wasn't even my mum's side, my dad's side, it was just everyone together, always welcome, always together, always close. There was never, my whole life in 26 years, any fallouts, any major arguments. That feeling of togetherness and stability and closeness is something that I guess I never really thought about until now, and I suppose I'm being asked a lot about children and growing a family and getting married and things like that. That was something I guess I never really thought about. It was always just kind of there, and only in recent, maybe in the past like year or 2 years, I've thought about that. And that feeling of togetherness and one unit of everyone being included is worth more than any material or anything you can have in your life, material or otherwise. It's worth more than that. That is something that I suppose before my grandparents it was started, but to me I only really knew my grandparents. I didn't know my great grandparents. I knew one, but not very long. Both sides, on my mum's side and my dad's side, and that was something that they started and they instilled in everyone, like going down. And even my sister and I with our cousins, it's not a cousin relationship, it's more than that. It's not a Josh gets back from uni and we're like, hey Josh, how was your flight back? I don't know, it's just like, sup. We all just have a special connection, and that is something that's so rare and so unique. That is definitely the most valuable thing that I have been brought up with. That got quite deep very quickly. The last question I'm going to answer is, someone said that you had it pretty easy growing up and got your first job via connections. I'm very lucky and grateful that my mum was very, very eager to help me get a job or figure out what I wanted to do. She was actually the one that suggested I go into PR, and she said fashion, and I ended up in beauty. However, my first job I actually got from stalking. I thought I'd just throw that in there. And this is something that loads of people come to me, especially in meetups and stuff, and say, how did you get that job, blah, blah. This is something that I voice to people, having been on both sides. Someone now who's in a position where I'm able to hire people to help me with my business, or in a position where I was looking to be employed by a larger company. You can send someone your CV, but bear in mind the likely scenario, whoever you're sending your CV to is getting quite a few of them on a regular basis, and what really matters to a lot of people more than anything is keenness and willingness to do things and to want to actually be there. So I actually saw there was a Vogue Dior readers event, and I think it was in Harrods or Selfridges. This was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I have told this story before, so apologies if it's a repeat. I bought a ticket and I went to the readers event, and I figured that the PR of Dior makeup would probably be there, and I asked someone with a clipboard who the Dior PR was, and I introduced myself. I told her what a fan I was of the brand and how much I would love to work there, and I told her some of my previous experience, and we just generally had a chat. I think the willingness really stood out to her, and actually didn't have an opening at Dior, which is part of a bigger LVMH company, but there was an opening at Givenchy, which is where I then worked. So to answer your question, no, I did not get my first job via connections. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, by the way, at all. I wanted to work in a very particular part of the beauty industry, and I didn't know anyone that worked there at the time. Now I think if I wanted to work in the beauty industry, I have worked with so many amazing beauty people from so many different brands, it'd probably be a lot easier. But at the time I didn't know anyone, and it literally was just being a stalker, introducing myself to the PR, and actually really wanting to be there, like really wanting to be there, and I think that just came across to her. So yes, that is answering your assumptions about me. Maybe I'll do a part 2 soon, but that was the majority of the ones that kind of came up the most, or the ones that stood out to me. I think I covered a big mix of what came up the most, so I did like maybe top 5 of what came up the most, and then like a few that stood out to me. I hope that gives you better insight into me and my life, and I'm actually thinking about doing 3 videos a week soon, so maybe I'll see more of you. But right now, if you don't want to miss any of my future videos, you can hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you soon. Mwah. Bye guys.